our channel, ladies and gentlemen. Attorney General AG Muturi seems to be giving statements that corroborate allegation that was appearing on one of the dailies today. Both the Nation newspaper and the Swahili counterpart, Taifa Leo, ran a story, ni mawaziri jina tu. Some of the cabinet secretaries are confiding in the mainstream media, and they are saying that they are being micromanaged, or rather, they are just there as puppets. Sometimes there are senior officials in their dockets that undertake certain official declarations that they are not even aware of. Sometimes they meet them, they just see them on newspapers and on TV. And that has been the story that has been going viral. And when I saw this, I wanted to find out whether this is just an alarming headline. Because this was happening today, and I realized that it is not the first time that this is happening. A few months ago, Standard ran a headline, President Ruto responds to claims of micromanaging cabinet. So this is not something that has started today. And you see, lisemwalo lipo na kama halipo yaja. Where there is smoke, there is fire. Because it was the NTV that was running that story, and they were quoting sentiments from the sitting cabinet secretaries, most of them who were speaking on anonymity. Now, the story about the Standard is about the former agriculture minister, Kipruto Arap Kiro. He was one day hosted on K24, and he said that William Ruto's style of leadership is micromanagement. And this is what he said, just to quote him verbatim, that the leadership style of President William Ruto is slightly different. I have said it before. He is a micromanager. So he will spend a lot of time micromanaging a department such that ministers are in perpetual fear. That was Kipruto Arap Kiro. And he went on to say, when you are under perpetual fear, you are not likely to make the right decisions, because he appointed a team of politicians. So basically saying that William Ruto rewarded most of those who help him campaign. And as a politician, if you intimidate them or if you micromanage them, they exercise fear, they will not perform. So this story just corroborates what has been running today. But I want us to go to the Attorney General and see how the cabinet works. Is there a coordination? Because if the cabinet secretaries are saying that they are not so much involved in some of the running of the cabinet, then we need to see what the Attorney General is saying. But before we get to that, let us know what a cabinet is and see who sits in that cabinet, so that we try and scrutinize exactly what is happening. In the Kenyan scenario, a cabinet of the Republic of Kenya is made up of the president, the deputy president, attorney general, and cabinet secretaries. The 2010 Constitution of Kenya allows a maximum of 22 ministries under Article 152 and sets the minimum number to 14. So I was just giving you this to understand that when I give you the speech of Attorney General, on just he was answering to some of the questions, he sits in the cabinet. And so whatever he tells you is like what I always tell you, for those who follow this channel, that it's like a crocodile telling you that the hippopotamus is sick. You cannot argue with it. So having known that, recently we woke up to news that the cabinet secretary in the Ministry of Interior, Kithure Kindiki, had increased the is it the tax? Do I call it the tax? When you want to replace your ID, the money that you pay to replace your ID, birth certificate, death certificate, and all that. So Attorney General, because this was something that really caught the nation by a lot of surprise. So, Attorney General was asked that question, that as the legal chief advisor of the government, did he know that this was happening, and what was his advice? And I want you to listen to what he said.
The chief legal advisor of government, a lot of Kenyans today have been all over complaining about now, a marriage certificate being much expensive than dowry itself in terms of the new charges. What will you take on that as the country's legal chief advisor?
That's not my line, but I can say that when I saw those changes last night actually, I was also surprised at the rates at which they were being increased. But I think a lot of consultation is happening. So I just want to tell Kenyans what they have said through social media, through various other medium, has been heard. And without having to say much, let them have faith.
Thank you.
It is being heard.
Thank you.
That is the chief legal advisor admitting that, such a special increment, such an increment of value that is touching on the life of Kenyans, he was not even aware. And he's telling the news reporters that he learned from the newspapers that was happening. And I looked at that and I was trying to connect with what was the story in the Standard and the story that the cabinet secretaries are saying that they are being sidelined and they are being kind of micromanaged. And I can conclude that they are true. But why do you think that President Ruto is micromanaging his cabinet? That is what I want us to look at. One, there is that fear of mistrust. William Ruto does not trust some of his politicians that he appointed to offices. Most of them were friends, but as a politician, he believes that he cannot trust them. So he wants to get involved in everything, in every decision making, even the nitty-gritties. And sometimes he is even sidelining them because he does not trust them. As a politician, he's still ruling with the mind of a politician. And in politics, there are only two constants, as we have always said: interest and betrayal. And William Ruto knows very well that he can be betrayed, so he's still ruling with that mentality of a politician. Of course, he's a politician. Now, there is that bit of political mileage, taking political mileage. Take, for example, when the former cabinet secretary of trade, who is now in the public service, Moses Kuria, went round opening industrial parks or something. And people said that he was taking mileage, and this did not go down well with Rigathi Gachagua and even William Ruto himself. It is like he was outshining the masters. And some experts believe that it is for that reason that he had to be transferred. Because, as we said, these are politicians. Most of them talk of Machogu, Aisha Juma, Moses Kuria, most of them. And most of them have got ambitions even post 2027. And William Ruto would not want them to outshine. This is the reason why he even travels abroad. And he tells us, I find it very funny, when he tells us that he's looking for jobs for Kenyans. And yet we have ambassadors in those countries and consulates. We have ministers in those particular departments. And he still travels that is going to look for jobs. I find it a bit, and it only goes on around to prove that William Ruto is a micromanager, because you cannot tell me that you want to go, for example, to Dubai to negotiate for domestic workers. An ambassador can do that. A minister can be sent to do that. But you see, he does not want them to go because he wants to come back and say, I have negotiated. And that is one thing that is happening. Number 3, and I think is the last one, some of these undertakings involve deals, like the one that is currently under scrutiny in the Ministry of Energy, where it is being alleged that Murkomen and Honorable Churchill have signed deals and they are pocketing money. And of course, Anjeri is involved. And we all know that even if we try to deny it, there are questions more than answers that Uganda has left the Kenyan market. Burundi, Congo, all of them those landlocked countries want to leave us because they're saying cartels are increasing unnecessary and exorbitant prices, and Uganda and the other countries are bearing the brand. So when deals are involved, not every Tom, Dick and Harry can be allowed to perform those duties. Only those who are the apple of his eyes, the very close allies like Chirchir, Murkomen, Oscar Sudi, just a very few of them. It happens in every regime. There must be people who are very close. I'm sure if Raila were to be the president today, I'm sure people like James Orengo would be very close. People like Junet Mohammed, maybe Joho, they would be the people who would be, calling the shots. And that is why most of these cabinet secretaries will not be allowed to perform some of these duties, because decisions are made on a high table and it is said ifanyike hivi ifanyike. Some of them wanasikia tu kwa gazeti ikishachapishwa, and that is the reason why this is happening. And they will have to endure and tolerate him the way he is, because that is the way he is wired. Of course, experts are saying that some of them are undertaking their duties with a lot of fear, but they have to understand their boss. That is who he is. I don't know what to think, ladies and gentlemen, but that is my take.